A lot of people watching this right now are walking around like their job is permanent, and it's not. The next big shock won't start with empty supermarkets or viral panic videos. It'll start quietly, with an email from HR, a quick meeting, or a calendar invite you didn't ask for. One announcement, and the income your entire life is built on disappears. Rent, debt, kids, car, bills, still very much alive and well. Meanwhile, the signs are everywhere. Companies restructuring, hiring freezes, weird extra pressure at work, automation creeping into your tasks, AI quietly doing the first draft of what you used to do manually. But most people treat all that like background noise. As long as the paycheck still lands, the brain says, "We're fine." We are not fine. In this video, we're going to talk about why job losses are set to accelerate, why so many people are dangerously exposed financially, and how the combination of rising prices, rising debt, and rising automation turns one pink slip into a full-blown money crisis. But we're not here just to scare you. We're here to build a game plan, so you're not the person saying, "I never saw this coming," while staring at a termination letter. Welcome to Virtual Finance Navigator, where we talk about money, work, and the systems behind them without the sugarcoating, but with enough humor to keep you from crying into your bank app. If you've ever had that gut feeling that your job isn't as safe as it looks, stay with me till the end. We're going to walk through what's changing, what it means for you, and the steps you can start taking today before anyone from HR asks to have a quick chat. Hit like, subscribe, and let's get you prepared now, not after the damage is done. Layoffs rarely feel like a plot twist to the executives making the decision. They've been talking about it in boardrooms, staring at spreadsheets, and massaging PowerPoints for months. The surprise is for everyone else. On the outside, life at work often looks normal right up until it doesn't. The coffee machine still works, the Slack channels are still noisy, the company still posts motivational quotes on LinkedIn. There may even be a town hall about exciting changes ahead, which is corporate for, we're about to make some people very unexcited. What most people don't see is the slow buildup. First, hiring quietly freezes. That open role you've been trying to backfill for 6 months, suddenly on hold. Then travel budgets get cut, training budgets shrink, team lunches disappear, replacement laptops take longer to approve. You start hearing phrases like doing more with less and we all need to tighten our belts, even though the people saying it are wearing very expensive watches. Then workloads start to creep. Someone quits and isn't replaced. Another person goes on leave and everybody else steps up. You're suddenly doing 1.5 jobs, maybe 2, but the pay looks suspiciously like one. The story is that this is temporary. The spreadsheet behind the scenes is saying something else. By the time layoffs actually happen, leadership has probably been modeling scenarios for a while. How many roles? Which departments? What does it do to next quarter's numbers? They will say the decision was difficult and recent. Translation, it's been baked for months, you're just hearing about it now. So why does it feel like such a shock to everyone else? Because most workers are trained to focus on their tasks, not the temperature. They're told to be team players, hit targets, keep their heads down. Reading balance sheets, earnings calls, and industry trends isn't part of the job description. Meanwhile, the early warning signs, declining revenue, rising costs, investors getting jumpy, show up long before the email titled Important Company Update. On top of that, there's a psychological safety blanket. As long as you're busy, you feel secure. They can't lay me off, they need me. Spoiler: organizations lay off needed people all the time. Layoffs are less about individual value and more about line items. The calm before the storm is deceptive because it's not actually calm, it's quiet. The data is shifting, the discussions are happening, the decisions are forming. They just aren't happening in your inbox yet. Understanding that changes how you play the game. Instead of assuming no news is good news, you start paying attention to the subtle signals. Hiring freezes, budget cuts, leadership turnover, nervous earnings calls, and that sudden obsession with efficiency. Layoffs often surprise people not because they come out of nowhere, but because most people were never taught to see the storm forming. Ooh, the economy is slowing, but bills aren't. One of the strangest things about an economic slowdown is how none of your bills get the memo. Your rent doesn't lean over and say, "Hey, I heard your company might be restructuring. Let's cut this in half." Groceries don't go on a sympathy discount. Your car note doesn't take a mental health break. When businesses feel things tightening, they cut spending. Governments argue about policy. Central banks adjust interest rates. But regular people, they just feel one thing: pressure. The job market cools, hours get cut, bonuses vanish, and cost of living adjustment becomes a mythical creature everyone talks about but no one sees. The ugly truth is that most household budgets are built on the assumption that income is stable. The rent contract doesn't say NX or whatever you can manage if things get rough. Your loan agreement doesn't say pay what you feel led in your spirit. Those numbers are fixed. Income is the flexible one, and in a slowdown it flexes downward. That mismatch is where the danger lives. Prices for essentials, food, housing, transport, utilities tend to be stubborn. Even if inflation cools on paper, it rarely feels like, ah yes, life is cheaper now. It feels more like things stopped getting worse quite so fast. Not exactly comforting when your employer is quietly trimming costs. So as the economy decelerates, households experience the worst combo: less job security plus still expensive life. When layoffs start, people aren't falling from a comfortable height. They're falling from a position where they were already stretched. That's why a slowdown that looks mild on a macro chart can feel like a full-blown crisis at the kitchen table. If you're paying attention, the lesson is simple. Never assume your bills will adjust themselves to match a weaker economy. They won't. If anything's going to adjust, it has to be your plan before your paycheck does. Number 3, the middle class is more fragile than it looks. A lot of people walking around with middle-class lives are actually standing on financial toothpicks. From the outside, it looks solid. Decent car, decent home, decent phone, kids in decent schools. From the inside, it's often one missed paycheck away from panic mode. The modern middle-class script is expensive: housing in a safe area, car payment or two, insurance for everything. Internet, phones, streaming, school-related costs, maybe childcare, plus a generous helping of debt sprinkled across credit cards and loans. It looks stable because everything is on auto-pay and the lights are still on. But under the hood, there's often very little slack. Many households don't have much in savings because there's never been any real room to build one. Any extra gets absorbed by life, birthdays, repairs, small emergencies, or just the quiet inflation of everyday costs. The end result is a lifestyle that looks stable but is actually highly leveraged on one thing: a steady paycheck. Now enter rising unemployment. When that paycheck stops, or even shrinks slightly, the whole structure starts to wobble. The problem isn't just the job loss itself, it's how many fixed commitments that job was silently supporting. That nice car suddenly feels heavy. The house payment looks bigger. Every monthly subscription stops being just $10 and becomes another hungry mouth. This is why job loss hits some people so brutally. They didn't feel rich before, but they felt okay. Now they're realizing they were playing financial Jenga. Remove one block, the job, and everything else starts sliding. There's no shame in this reality. It's the outcome of decades of rising expectations and rising costs. But pretending the middle class is universally stable is dangerous. It tricks people into thinking, "I'm fine, I'm not poor," when the truth is, you might be one HR email away from a whole different category. The smart move is to treat your middle-class lifestyle like it's sitting on fragile glass, not concrete. Because if unemployment climbs, the people who look most okay on the outside are often the ones in the quietest trouble. Number 4, jobs are being replaced, not just removed. In past downturns, the story was simple. Economy bad, jobs cut, economy recovers, jobs come back. It wasn't fun, but the script was familiar. This time, the script is weirder. Roles aren't just being paused, They're being redesigned, automated, or deleted from the menu entirely. Technology and automation have been creeping into workplaces for years. Software subscriptions quietly replaced assistants. Self-checkouts replaced some cashiers. Remote tools replaced parts of middle management. Now AI is jumping into the party, and it's not just taking low-skill work, it's nibbling at tasks done by analysts, marketers, writers, support reps, and even some managers. When companies feel pressure, they don't just ask, "Who do we fire?" They ask, "How can we do this same work with fewer humans?" If a process can be automated, outsourced, or handed to a small team with better tools, that option suddenly looks very attractive. The layoff isn't just a temporary cost cut, it's a permanent process upgrade from the company's perspective. This is why some people will find that their exact job title disappears from job boards, replaced by something slightly different that expects broader skills, tech fluency, or experience with tools that didn't even exist 5 years ago. Waiting around for the exact same role to reappear is like waiting for your old Nokia to come back into fashion as a flagship device. None of this means humans are done, it means the bar is moving. The people who treat technology, and especially AI, as a threat to hide from will be the ones most exposed. The people who treat it as a power-up for their work will be the ones companies are desperate to keep. So when unemployment rises, the key question isn't just who's getting cut. It's whose skills can be redesigned into the new workflow and whose can't. If your job is 100% manual, repetitive, and rule-based, you should hear a little alarm bell. If your job mixes judgment, creativity, people skills, and smart use of tools, that bell gets quieter. Jobs aren't just vanishing, they're mutating. And if you're not evolving with them, you might find the job market doesn't recognize you anymore. Number 5, degree not equal job security anymore. There was a time when having a degree felt like a backstage pass to stability. You could wave that diploma around and doors would open. Now, in a lot of fields, your degree gets you something much less impressive, a place at the back of a very long queue. The problem isn't education itself. Learning is still powerful. The problem is the myth that a degree alone guarantees safety. Employers care less about the parchment and more about what you can actually do, how fast you can adapt, and whether you bring in results. A line on your CV that says Bachelor's in X is no longer a magic shield against layoffs. In some sectors, degree holders are being laid off alongside everyone else. Tech workers, office staff, managers with multiple letters after their names have all found themselves refreshing job boards with the same uneasy stare as everyone else. The layoff email doesn't say, "We reviewed your education history and decided you're untouchable." It says, "Your role has been eliminated." Full stop. To make things spicier, the cost of getting those degrees has risen faster than many salaries. That means some people are walking into a shaky job market already carrying heavy student debt. So not only is the degree not guaranteeing security, it's sometimes the very reason their finances are extra fragile when trouble hits. The new reality is skills greater than status. Can you solve problems? Learn new tools fast, communicate clearly, sell, design, analyze, lead, or build something people actually want? Those are the things that keep you valuable when companies are deciding who stays. The degree may help you get noticed, but it won't keep you if the skills behind it are outdated. This doesn't mean education is pointless. It means it's step one, not the whole staircase. The people who will ride out future unemployment waves best are the ones who treat learning as a lifelong habit, not a one-time event they finished in their early 20s. If your main safety plan is, "I have a degree," it's time to update the software. The job market isn't honoring old promises anymore. Number 6, most households don't have a real emergency plan. Ask people if they know they need an emergency fund, and most will nod. Ask if they actually have one, and the room gets very quiet very quickly. In theory, everyone agrees that you should have 3 to 6 months of expenses saved. In reality, a lot of people are trying to figure out how to get through the next 3 to 6 days without going negative. The typical household plan for emergencies often looks like this. Step 1, hope nothing bad happens. Step 2, if it does, swipe the card. Step 3, repeat until maxed. That's not a plan, that's a stress subscription. Part of the issue is that life has been running at such a high monthly cost that there's very little left over to save. Rent, food, fuel, loans, kids, and all the other non-negotiables take priority. Saving becomes something people will do later when things calm down, which is code for never because life is chaos. So when unemployment spikes, a scary number of people find out in real time that they have no cushion. One lost job and everything else starts wobbling. Rent, bills, debts, even basics like groceries. The only backup system is credit, which was already stretched. Unemployment benefits, where available, help, but they rarely fully replace income and they don't always arrive immediately or smoothly. A real emergency plan is more than just money, though money is a big part. It's also knowing which expenses you'd cut first, having a list of people you could potentially call, knowing what skills you can monetize quickly, understanding how to access benefits, severance, or legal protections. Most people have never taken an hour to think that through because it feels negative or attracting bad luck. But avoiding the thought doesn't avoid the event. It just means you'll be improvising in panic mode instead of executing a strategy. If unemployment is likely to rise, then an emergency plan is no longer a smart someday idea. It's basic survival gear. You don't buy a fire extinguisher after the kitchen is already in flames. Number 7. Debt turns a job loss into a free fall. Losing a job is bad enough. Losing a job while dragging a ball and chain of high-interest debt behind you is a different level of chaos. Debt doesn't care about your employment status. It doesn't send flowers or sympathy texts. It just keeps asking every month, "Where's my money?" Credit cards, car payments, personal loans, BNPL installments, these are all built on a quiet assumption: your income will continue. The minimum payment might look small when the paychecks are flowing, but that minimum is a stubborn little thing. It will still be there when your payroll deposits vanish. When income stops, the priority list flips to survival: where you live, what you eat, how you move. Debt likes to pretend it's in that top category, but it's not. You can't feed a family on a perfect credit score, so debt often gets pushed down the list, which makes sense as a human and hurts like crazy in the math. Missed payments lead to late fees, balances grow, interest compounds, credit scores drop. Future borrowing gets more expensive, which is brutal when you eventually get back on your feet and need a car or a place to live. Job loss doesn't just hurt today, it plants financial landmines you'll be stepping on for years if you're not careful. The real trap is how normalized debt has become. Car, finance it. Phone, finance it. Furniture, finance it. Groceries, why not? Let's throw that on the card too. In good times, this just seems like how life works. In a downturn, it turns into a mountain you suddenly have to climb with no rope. This is why paying down high-interest debt before a crisis isn't just a nice personal finance tip. It's risk management. The less of your monthly life that's owed to lenders, the more flexibility you have if your income takes a hit. Debt can be a tool. It can also be the reason a temporary job loss turns into a multi-year financial recovery arc. The difference is how heavily you're leaning on it when the floor suddenly gives way. Number 8. The psychological shock, identity and panic. When people talk about unemployment, they usually focus on money, but losing a job hits much deeper than your bank account. It punches your identity, your routine, your sense of worth, and your place in the world. That's why so many people freeze right when they most need to act. For years, you wake up, go to work, do your thing, complain about meetings, send emails, come home tired. It might not be your dream life, but it's your life. Your job becomes part of your story. I'm a teacher. I work in IT. I'm a manager. I'm in finance. Then in one moment, that title gets snatched. Now you're in transition, between jobs, or just unemployed. Even if you know logically that layoffs aren't personal, it often feels very personal. The brain loves to whisper, "They kept other people and let you go. What does that say about you?" That shame can be heavier than the money problem. It makes people hide, withdraw, avoid telling friends and family what happened. On top of that, routine disappears. No more daily schedule, no regular structure. Some people adapt quickly, others drift. Days blur together, motivation drops, and tasks like updating a resume or networking feel exhausting. It's easier to binge content, scroll endlessly, or obsessively replay the layoff moment in your head than to face the uncertainty. All of this has a direct financial impact. Delaying filing for benefits, not calling creditors early, not adjusting expenses fast. These are emotional decisions disguised as, "I'll deal with it later." And in a rising unemployment environment, procrastination gets very expensive very quickly. The good news is that once you understand this reaction as normal, you can prepare for it. You can decide in advance. If I ever lose my job, I will give myself 24 to 48 hours to be upset. Then I will switch into action mode. You can make a checklist now while you're calm to follow later when you're not. You are not your job. But when your job disappears, your mind may need time to learn that truth. The key is not letting that learning period turn into long-term paralysis. Number 9, the hidden chain reaction: family, community, and the economy. When one person loses a job, it rarely affects just one person. It's more like pulling one brick out of a wall and watching cracks spread. That's why rising unemployment is about much more than individual hardship. It ripples outward. Start with the household. One income goes away and suddenly everyone feels it. Partners argue more. Kids pick up on the stress even if no one explains it. Plans get canceled, vacations, birthdays, activities. The mood shifts from "what are we doing next" to "what can we cut?" That emotional atmosphere sticks even after money improves. Then look at the neighborhood. The family that just lost income starts spending less. Fewer trips to local restaurants, fewer haircuts, fewer purchases at small shops. Those businesses then feel the drop. A barber with fewer clients, a shop with slower days, a cafe with empty tables. If enough customers pull back, those businesses start cutting hours or staff. Now more incomes are at risk. Zoom out again. Governments see lower tax revenue from income and sales, but higher demand for support, benefits, programs, aid. That strain can lead to budget cuts in other areas people rely on. The very systems meant to cushion a downturn feel the pressure of it. Meanwhile, lenders, landlords, and utility companies see more late payments. They respond by tightening standards or raising prices to cover risk. That makes life harder even for people who still have jobs. Everyone feels a little shakier. This chain reaction is why economists watch unemployment so nervously. It's not just numbers on a chart, it's a series of dominoes. When too many fall at once, optimism shrinks, spending drops, and the whole economy can slide from slowing to stuck. The flip side is also true. When individuals and families prepare better, less fragile debt, some savings, multiple income options, they don't just protect themselves. They reduce the shock to their circle, their neighborhood, and even their country. Personal resilience scales up more than most people realize. So yes, rising unemployment is scary, but understanding the chain reaction isn't about hopelessness. It's about seeing how your choices affect more than just your own account balance. Number 10, how to get ready before the email hits. If this all sounds intense, that's because it is. But here's the good news. The best time to prepare for job loss is before it happens, and you're here now, which already puts you ahead of most people. Preparation doesn't mean living in fear. It means shifting from, "I hope nothing bad happens," to, "If something does happen, I won't be helpless." That starts with taking a hard, honest look at your situation. How many months could you realistically cover basics if your income stopped today? If the answer is less than 1, that's not a reason to panic. It's a clear starting point. First move, trim the obvious fat. Go through your bank statement and highlight every recurring charge. If it doesn't feed you, house you, transport you, or truly help you earn more, question it. You don't have to cancel joy, but you may need to cancel some autopilot spending that's quietly weakening your position. Second move, build a small buffer, even if it feels laughably small at first. 20 here, 50 there, 100 when you can. The goal isn't perfection, it's progress. Every bit of cash you set aside is one less thing you'll have to panic about on a bad day. Third move, upgrade your earning power. That means skills. Pick one or two that are in demand and start getting better. Digital skills, sales, writing, design, data, project management, AI-assisted work. Fourth move, open side doors. A small side hustle, freelance work, a part-time service, even something that brings in a little extra consistently. This is like installing a backup generator. It might not replace your full-time income, but it can keep some lights on if the main power goes out. Finally, have a written, if I get laid off plan. A simple checklist. Who you'll call, what you'll cut, how you'll file for support, how you'll structure your days. Writing it now, while you're calm, is a gift to your future self who might not be. You can't control the economy. You can't control every decision your company makes, but you can control how prepared you are when those decisions hit your inbox. That preparation is the difference between total chaos and a hard season you can realistically bounce back from. We are down to number 10. If you've stayed with this breakdown all the way here, thank you for taking your future seriously. We've walked through how layoffs sneak up, why the middle looks more stable than it really is, how tech and debt are changing the risk, what unemployment does to identity and communities, and, most importantly, what you can do before any of this knocks on your door. The big takeaway is simple: uncertainty is here whether we like it or not. Waiting and hoping is not a strategy. Preparing, even in small, imperfect steps, is. You don't need to be rich to be ready, you just need to be intentional. If this opened your eyes or gave you practical steps, don't let it stop at awareness. Like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone who's still assuming their job is untouchable. Drop a comment about the one action you're going to take this week to make yourself more layoff-proof. Your future self will thank you for not waiting until HR sends that quick meeting invite.